You look genuinely emotional. Oh, come here.
GBNews does pay attention to those who are ignored by the mainstream media. The majority of this country whose forefathers fought and died to maintain liberty, to fight for freedom of speech.
The rule of law, the rights of property and democracy. This is the heritage that our country should be so proud of.
Which of course includes our Christian heritage. There's been a huge resurgence in the number of people going to church. Perhaps they're not finding what they're looking for, and they're looking for something a bit deeper, a bit more truthful, a bit more akin to Britain's Christian heritage.
That's right, get ready, because the most exciting night in general election history starts now! It's 9 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight. Illegal migrants make money by flaunting the fact they're breaking into Britain, and...
Is the Health Secretary a traitor or a faithful Prime Minister? Prime Minister, your MP's trying to get rid of you. Are there any traitors in number 10, Prime Minister? Good morning. Do you need a padlock on that door?
Revolt in the Labour Party.
Prime Minister has lost control of his own people within number 10 Downing Street.
I wouldn't put it like that.
Sir Keir Starmer is a dead man walking. Plus...
On a positive note, I want to recognise and praise the incredible work going on in local churches and communities across the country to welcome the stranger, as we strive towards better refugee integration in principles and in practice.
The new Archbishop of Canterbury now wants to keep baptising asylum seekers, and Axel Rudikabana's parents are now potentially facing a police investigation themselves. Also, I am joined live in this studio by nurses who were disgracefully penalised by the NHS for complaining about a bloke in their changing rooms. And...
At the budget last year, I fixed the foundations.
OK, well, 4 million people are unemployed on benefits with no need to ever look for a job. On my panel tonight is the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood. We've also got Reform Councillor for Epping, Jamie McIver, and journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. And I kind of think maybe you've just got to love this guy.
And then the other one is your wife. How many wives? What's the wife? You guys, I never know. I never know.
It's just remarkable, isn't it? Get ready, Britain. Here we go. I expose how illegal migrants are making money from breaking into Britain. Next.
Good evening. It's 2 minutes past 9 here in the GB newsroom. The White House has described the BBC as a leftist propaganda machine, indicating Donald Trump's billion-dollar legal action against the corporation over its editing of one of his speeches will go ahead. The US President has given the corporation until Friday to publish a full retraction of the Panorama programme. BBC Chair Samir Shah has previously apologised for an error of judgment. Well, Mr Trump's press secretary, Caroline Levitt, was asked by our US presenter Bev Turner if it could affect their relationship with the UK.
Does this strain the relationship between the President and the Prime Minister? And given that the organisation is publicly funded, is the President prepared to bankrupt the BBC?
He has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders, even whom he has a good relationship with. And the BBC, being a fair news organisation, is definitely an outlet. I think these two leaders would disagree. The President has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidised by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain. As you know, the President's external legal counsel has filed a lawsuit against the BBC. We expect that to continue, and whether they apologise or not is up to them.
Meanwhile, the White House says fresh emails released by US Democrats, which appear to link Donald Trump to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, are a fake narrative to smear the US president. One email alleges Donald Trump spent hours with a victim. In another, addressed to his associate Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein wrote that Trump knew about the girls, referring to the US president as the dog that hasn't barked. Trump has always denied any wrongdoing in relation to Jeffrey Epstein and has previously said the allegations against him are a hoax. Sir Keir Starmer's insisted he did not authorise attacks against his cabinet ministers, describing briefings against them as unacceptable. He was responding to rumours of a potential leadership challenge from the Health Secretary, which Wes Streeting has denied. Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch accused Sir Keir of losing control of his government in a fiery session of Prime Minister's questions.
Why does the Prime Minister think that there would be a market meltdown if the Health Secretary took over? Mr. Speaker, this is a united team and we are delivering together. Look what we're doing. The fastest growth of the G7. 5 interest rate cuts. Trade deals with the EU, the US and India, all of which they oppose, we've delivered. And I can update the House.
If people want to audition for a pantomime, I suggest you go to the Old Vic.
Baroness Helen Newlove, the Victims Commissioner for England and Wales, has died at the age of 63 following a short illness. The Conservative peer became a campaigner after her husband Gary was killed while confronting a group of youths outside the couple's home in 2007. Former Conservative Prime Minister David Cameron has described Ms Newlove as a wonderful, warm and brave person. Baroness Shami Chakrabarti called her a brave and wonderful soul. Finally, NASA's postponed a space launch due to a solar storm that could disrupt GPS, communications and power grids, thanks to the most intense solar storm in decades. It's also expected to bring a spectacular display of the Northern Lights to the UK later, like this seen earlier in the US state of Iowa. The sun is currently going through an active phase, experiencing a number of eruptions, which sends solar particles towards the Earth. The best place to see it tonight will be in northern areas of the country. Those are your headlines. Now it's back to Patrick.
Good evening. Tonight I can expose that individuals who we believe to be human traffickers and illegal migrants may be earning thousands of pounds via social media platform TikTok to flaunt the fact that they're breaking into Britain. Some of these individuals are eligible to access TikTok's Creator Fund, which means that they can make money from posting videos, have paid subscribers, receive monetary gifts from people and even do brand deals. Take this account, for example. He has 355,000 followers. People can even subscribe to him for £5.39 a month. Bargain, isn't it? He posts videos like this of young men in hotel rooms claiming that they have either made it to Britain or are about to get there. Some of his videos have got millions of views, which implies that he's making quite a lot of money out of it. This is another man, believed to be from Sudan, posting a video in what seems to be a British hotel room, saying that he has achieved his dream of coming to the UK.
Hey, yo, all right, you love me now, but I wonder how long for. I'm not a believer in reincarnation, but...
He's even posted a video of English lessons that he's now receiving. So his account is a video diary of his journey across Europe, through Italy, France and into the UK. As we know, many Sudanese illegal migrants are now claiming to be Christian, so that they can say that they face persecution back home. In fact, just today, the Archbishop of Canterbury said that the Church of England should continue baptising asylum seekers because they might not want to declare their faith until they get to Britain. More on that later. But that might be a bit tricky for this guy, as this video also appears on his profile.
والله خسران من ترك الصلاة والله ضائع من ترك الصلاة والله الذي لا إله غيره لا قيمة لمن ترك الصلاة.
Hiding it well, isn't he? He has the capacity to do live videos, which again means that TikTok allows him to receive monetary gifts on its platform, or at least that's certainly what we believe. Here is someone that we also believe is probably a human trafficker. He's been advertising his mobile number and posting videos of people making their way across the channel.
شوف يوسف هاي جماعة أنا فراد أبو حسين يا أخي أحلى تحية أبو حسين.
So again, this person has more than 10,000 followers, their page gets hundreds of thousands of views, and it seems likely, therefore, that he meets the criteria to be able to make money out of that. But this is another point. Their ability to do live videos means that they can essentially use TikTok and other outlets as well as an online consultancy business to help people get across the channel. There's one more for you here. This is a female. She posts videos like this.
خدم بحماك يا راعي الغيرة واللي ينخاك عرف تدبيره يا أمان الطف أمان.
She posts regular videos from the migrant camps in northern France and also does regular live videos. In fact, she was actually doing a live video today, which I logged on to, so there you go. But here's a video as well of a man filming himself in the back of a lorry, claiming to be on his way to Britain. Again, remarkably, people can subscribe to him for £2.69. I mean, why would you want to do that? Potentially because you also want to break into Britain. The news emerged today that French police are now stopping fewer boats than before Sir Keir Starmer did this so-called deal with the French. I mean, if we were serious as a country about protecting our borders, it would be a very, very easy job to set up a team of just a few people to get these accounts removed. They are easy to find. We find them every single day. And it will frustrate the British public that these people are breaking into Britain, that we give them a load of free stuff when they get here, but also that many of them appear to be making money by brazenly advertising what they're doing as well. Let's get the thoughts of my panel on this. We have the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, Reform Councillor Jamie McIver and broadcaster and journalist Nina Mishkov. Mark, I'll start with you. So, I mean, these people are basically taking us for mugs every which way, including, it would appear anyway, making money from advertising their break into Britain.
On the face of it, that seems accurate, doesn't it, Patrick? And you must be a bit furious, because I've looked up the numbers here. GBNews has a turnover of about £50 million per annum. Right. The Home Office has a turnover of about £23 billion per annum. Right. And they don't have the side hustle of having to run a TV station all day, every day. You would have thought that if Border Force was looking into this, smashing the gangs would be pretty easy. You're doing it, you know, by getting this material together. What are Border Force doing? Now, on TikTok, which I've always been sceptical about, I think it is run essentially by the Chinese Communist Party, we need to consider legal action against them. If I don't know in which court we could possibly do that, and you wouldn't want to close down the entire platform in the same way that you wouldn't want to close down Royal Mail because there are some poison pen letters sent. However, if people are actually making money out of this illegal activity, why is it only you and GB News all over it, not Keir Starmer and his Border Force that I was told were going to smash the gangs? It's absolutely reprehensible.
I mean, I'm a little bit sick of continually finding these guys, especially the ones of human traffickers, where you post they've got their mobile phone number on there. They're literally just openly, brazenly using social media platforms to advertise their wares. You know, I'm sick of highlighting this and then getting the usual thing about, like, oh, OK, we'll take it down. Well, why is it on us to do that? Why?
Well, I agree. And also, you know, the British people are sick and tired of this. You know, they've just got in from work, they've put the telly on, they're watching GB News, they've walked past homeless people on the streets of London, and then they watch videos like this and they see how we as a country are being made for fools. And, you know, the worst thing about it isn't that we're giving these people hotels and the dangers they present to our communities, is the fact they're basically becoming like Jet2 holidays online and almost advertising. It's like the advertisement without the Jessica Lynn music. And it's becoming now, I think, an embarrassment for this country, not the government, for the country, because we are actually enabling this behaviour. And platforms need to be responsible. But actually, what we should be doing is the government should be signing up to these subscriptions and tracking these people and arresting them before they get here.
Well, I mean, we've got things now like the Online Safety Act. So I was actually having a look at... I did a monologue a couple of weeks ago that was about an asylum centre in Wethersfield, former RAF base, and within that... It might have been on the show, actually. And within that, there was video evidence of people who had been in possession of weapons, and they were also defecating on the floor. It's quite disgusting stuff, but I thought it was important that the people at home saw that stuff. Due to the Online Safety Act, that was censored on social media. So on X, people couldn't watch it, so you couldn't know about potential violent terrorists who are now living in Britain. But apparently there's nothing to stop people advertising, breaking into Britain and then making money off it online.
Well, it's interesting you think we couldn't do anything at all with TikTok. TikTok, as Mark says, is probably run by the Chinese Communist government. You know, Trump himself is having difficulty dealing with TikTok. TikTok was banned initially when Trump first came into power, and they've delayed. He's obviously hoping to do some kind of financial deal with them. If he can make money out of something, whatever principles he's got are going to go out the window. But I've never had TikTok. You know, we were sent the videos, and I wasn't going to open it on my phone. No. I don't want TikTok on my phone. And I understand that the government and people who work for the government are not allowed to have TikTok on their phone. So it may be that they can't see it. Who knows? I mean, I know. So that's.
I mean, you would hope the National Crime Agency could, though.
Yes, absolutely.
That's surely the point. Look, maybe somehow brilliantly Border Force are doing this all behind the scenes. But at the moment, I'm unbelievably perplexed that the data gathering exercise, let alone what legal action you take against TikTok, seems to be being carried out by you, Patrick, and GB News, not by the Home Office. So why am I not getting a running update from the Home Secretary and the head of Border Force on exactly finding these? And so we've found another 20, and we've closed them down, or we've managed to catch 18 of them. None of this appears to be happening. If it is happening, they are certainly not telling us anything about it.
But the thing is, it's not just TikTok, is it? I think we should be fair here. It's happening across all social media platforms. This is going to be happening on Snapchat, on Facebook, on Instagram, on dating apps. That's what worries me, especially when they arrive here. So I think that this is a broader issue, that these unvetted men are all over social media. Forget the advertisement. They are actually accessing potentially vulnerable British people
make it easy for them
by doing so.
To find them.
But why is it that somebody in the Home Office or in the Intelligence Service isn't able to just follow these people themselves?
Go on, Nina, yeah.
I was going to say, social media is the modern form of communication. Why would we be surprised that they're not using it? Of course they're using it. Everybody else in the world is using it.
What surprises me, though, is as people would imagine, and I'm not trying to be unfair to our security services here, because they have a huge amount on, and they're also dealing with a load of other things that are non-channel migrant related, things like paedophile rings and all of that stuff that also use various different social media platforms. So I'm not trying to be unfair to them. But what happens here quite a bit, because we've done a few different exposés, whether it was targeting directly human traffickers or this, is quite often we'll get told, oh, sorry, can you not report that particular one? And then they'll just take that account down and ask not to report it. And I think, well, hang on a minute, that account was running for a year or more with impunity and has been seemingly bringing people across the channel with impunity for that length of time. And if you are honestly asking me to believe that us reporting on that account at this moment in time will be the key that unlocks you finally smashing the gangs, I find that ridiculous.
Yes.
We've got record numbers coming in, and I do wonder if sometimes they just don't want this stuff reported.
It smells like that, doesn't it, Patrick? I mean, I suppose if you were to be kind, you can imagine a situation in which they deliberately haven't closed the account. The information coming in from it is hugely useful to the security services. They are just on the cusp of catching the baddies. Just about. But again, why isn't there reporting of this at the end of it? So why aren't Border Force or the Home Secretary saying, good news, we've gone through another 148 accounts. We haven't managed to mop it all up, but we have closed down 110 of them. We've now caught 50 or 60 people. We've identified another dozen. You only hear about this on the media. You don't hear about it the dispatch box in the House of Commons. Why?
This comes down to the fact that border control is run by the Home Office. The Home Office has been institutionally hopeless for 20 years, if not longer, and it hasn't changed yet. You know, Shabana Mahmood, who is a strong woman, is trying to do her best, as far as I understand. She's going, you know, to Denmark, looking at the system they've got, which is you know, far stricter than us, and might have some good ideas. But you know, you can't grasp every bit of the mess.
This is the number one thing the British people want sorted. Like, I don't understand. I get your point about the Home Office entirely. I do, and I don't disagree at all. But for goodness sake, this is the one thing the British people want sorted, and it is a gift to you, these social media sites. It is making their job easier, and yet they still can't grasp it. That's what I can't understand.
Yeah, and I just think as well, just to round this off, it is hard to overstate how important the use of social media is to human traffickers and to the illegal immigrants. So when they want to find someone who can bring them across the channel, or even before that, further upstream, get them across multiple different countries, provide them with fake documents, show them routes, give them any information that they need, their first port of call is to go on social media. So for all this talk about smashing the gangs, for all this talk about getting the French to not turn the boats back in the water, or we'll send one migrant back to France and he'll probably come back again in a week, as has happened twice now, really a core pillar of that should be smashing the social media outlets for allowing them to do this content, but also disrupting that as much as possible. It's hard to overstate how important that is, and I find it incredibly frustrating, and I'm sure many of our viewers and listeners do as well, that it seems like not a lot is being done there. But we will move ourselves on now, because we've gone to the National Crime Agency, obviously, and a spokesperson told GB News the NCA has worked with social media companies to have more than 25,000 posts, pages or accounts advertising organised immigration crime services removed. However, we are clear the industry urgently needs to work with us and do more to prevent their platforms being exploited by organised criminals. They have a responsibility to do so, and we have ongoing positive engagement with them. The Home Office has been on. They said we are cracking down on brazen social media advertising and introducing an offence that criminalises the online promotion of unlawful immigration services. Alongside the NCA, we are working with major social media companies to rapidly remove online adverts promoting dangerous small boats crossings. We also went to TikTok. They say that, as stated in our community guidelines, we do not allow content which displays or promotes human trafficking and smuggling, including facilitating or coordinating human smuggling acts and services, and have banned accounts which breach this. In March 2023, TikTok launched a number of search interventions to alert our community to the risks of human smuggling and trafficking, and to help them make informed choices. The UK government recommended this to be adopted as an industry-wide approach, and they say that they also are looking at keywords and phrases and images, etc., of this kind of stuff. And TikTok was one of the few companies that agreed to do a partnership between the government and social media companies tackling the people smuggling gangs. Right, well, lots more coming your way, including I have some very, very special guests live in this studio in a couple of minutes' time. But let us brighten up your Christmas. Here's how.
You could win your entire Christmas on us this year, all magically delivered to you in time for the big day. There's cash, £30,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year go with a bang. There's also a further £10,000 to spend on all the gifts, the tree, the trimmings, everything you might need for a fantastic festive day. We've also got Christmas lunch for you, with £1,000 in vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a festive GB News goodie bag, so there's something for everyone under the tree. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, loads coming your way. We're going to have a look at those record-breaking numbers of people who are not just out of work, but have no need to ever look for work again. But first...
The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex.
I'm very pleased to be joined in this studio by the Darlington nurses who were horrifically penalised by the NHS for complaining about a bloke in their changing rooms. That's next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okwir, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight. Well, I'm very excited to do this segment, actually. So the Darlington nurses have been told that they had to accept a man in their changing room due to the, quote, inclusiveness of the NHS. This was revealed following a 3-week trial where the barristers in the landmark case have now made their closing speeches. The nurses raised concerns about a biological male who identifies as a woman and goes by the name Rose being allowed to use the female staff changing room. County Durham and Darlington NHS Trust legal team had previously said that the complaints were ideologically driven and protected under the Equality and Human Rights Act. Well, the nurses have received public backing from millions of people, including J.K. Rowling as well, and support, of course, from politicians and, I would argue, anyone with a brain. But joining me this evening, I'm very pleased to say, is Bethany Hutchinson, Lisa Lockie, Anise Grundy and Karen Danson. Thank you very, very much. Could I start with you on the end, if that's all right?
You can.
So, how has this whole thing made you feel? And could you explain some of these harms that this has caused for you?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's been pretty stressful for all of us, really. This has been an unprecedented legal case. And it's been overwhelming. I'm grateful that we have support from each other and we've we've been pretty steadfast in the whole thing, really. But we've had to endure some pretty nasty and awful things from senior management within the trust. There's been colleagues that have had panic attacks. There have been colleagues that have had to wear clothing underneath their uniform because they haven't wanted to undress in front of a biological male. So it's been a pretty stressful ordeal all round, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Would you mind explaining, if you don't mind, anyway, the actual issue here, which is this man in the changing rooms? Because there's something here which says that it wasn't just the fact that he was in there, it was also his conduct as well. So would you explain that for me, please?
So his behaviour in the changing room is being completely unacceptable. He's been, he parades around the changing room.
Would you mind just popping that microphone a bit closer? Sorry, that's all right, don't worry.
He parades around the changing room, he stares at people, and for me, myself, it was particularly traumatic because I was abused as a child by my dad, and my dad would say to me, "Are you not getting ready for bed?" And there's this man in the changing room saying, "You're not getting changed yet." I had a massive panic attack, broke down in tears, and I had nightmares like every night for 3 months afterwards. That's the kind of thing, that's the kind of people that this policy is allowing in the changing room. It's affecting vulnerable people like me. It's a safeguarding risk, and the trust don't see that.
I'm just so sorry to hear all of that, and it's worth remembering as well, the reason you're there is to do a job that entirely involves trying to save people's lives and make them better.
Exactly.
It's just appalling. And what's emerged out of this as well is that there was a specific policy in this particular NHS trust, which is called, I believe, a transitioning in the workplace policy. Would you mind explaining what they were claiming that was and why that put you at risk?
So the policy it basically stated that anybody who identified as transgender, from the moment that they declared that they were transgender, they were allowed to access whichever changing room their gender identity, whichever they thought they were. So from the outset, this person was allowed to use our changing room apparently since 2019. They have withdrawn that now. Obviously, we've had the Supreme Court ruling, and we didn't even think we'd end up in court. We thought the Supreme Court ruling would that would be it. But, yeah, here we are. We've just finished our tribunal.
So how did the tribunal go, then? Because I think are we getting a result around Christmas, is that right?
Well, I think it'll probably be after Christmas. It'll probably be the New Year. We don't know. I mean, I think there were strengths and weaknesses, and we're hopeful, but we just don't know.
And just to be clear, so what is it exactly that what would your dream result be?
Well, apparently the judge can make recommendations. We want a change in policy. That was ideally, it would be nice to have an apology from the trust as well for their behaviour, because they have behaved badly towards us. We all believe they've behaved really badly to us.
Well, on that, would you mind passing the microphone downstairs? Is that all right? Sorry. So on that very issue then, so I mean, the headlines read, nurses penalised for trans complaints. So how were you penalised then?
So basically, from they did an investigation. Internal investigation, and we were removed from the changing room. We were told that we had to leave the changing room, and the trust held this. Was it a disciplinary investigation or was it?
It was a resolution
meeting. That was it. The resolution policy. Yeah. And it was meant to be wrapped up in a month, and it took 11 months. And at the end of it, the result was yes, there's a guy using the changing room. However, that's the policy, so we can't do anything about it.
Right.
So we feel that it was
and
just a fraud.
You had to move changing rooms as well?
Yeah, we were moved out the changing room virtually within a couple of months of the letter.
Yeah.
And I've got a recollection of reporting on this at the time, I think, because those changing rooms that you were forced into were not really proper changing rooms, were they?
No, it's an old converted manager's office. And then we've got one changing, like a cubicle, one small
But we since found out, since the court, since the tribunal, that it wasn't even it didn't match fire regulations. They knew that there was work needed to be done on it to make it fire safe, and they said no. We can't really justify spending that much money, so they left it as it was.
And yet they can justify spending a whole lot of money on a court case.
Yeah.
So just to be clear on that then, so they actually not just made you move into what was essentially a glorified broom cupboard so that Rose could use your changing room.
Yeah.
They then also put you in that room which was not fire safe.
Yes.
Right. OK, I mean, there's so many layers to this, aren't there? You mentioned there about the money to fight you in court, this tribunal. I was really struck, I'm just getting up on my screen here, by one of the arguments that was made by this NHS Trust KC, either today or yesterday, presumably, saying that basically you had, quote, chosen to interpret anything from Rose in a negative way, and you had a single-minded pursuit of this issue which, quote, clouded your judgment. That's quite offensive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's extremely offensive, yes. Yeah.
And that's the NHS, that's your overall bosses saying that you're making a big deal out of
Yes, it is a big deal, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, women's rights, women's safety, women's dignity is a big deal.
Yeah.
It is, and you know, you've got to think the international nurses that's had no consideration in this, that a lot of them were just so uncomfortable with it, but nobody was even consulted before he was allowed to come in the changing room. Nobody said, you know, would you mind if this transgender person starts using your changing room? No, just get on with it.
And could I ask, is it all right to get the microphone here? I hope you don't mind me asking this, but I was very struck by something you said earlier about your previous negative experiences. So when you approached bosses, presumably, and explained to them that you also had some childhood trauma, which presumably added to how triggering this situation is, what was their response?
Negative. I've had no support at all. And last year I was due to have a hysterectomy, and I went into the theatre manager where Rose works, where this person works, and he was going to be in my procedure, and I said to the manager, there's a legal case going on, it's ethically inappropriate. And she was like, well, how would this person feel if he was to be removed from your surgery? We'll cancel your surgery, we'll get you moved elsewhere with a different doctor.
So they were going to cancel your hysterectomy?
Yeah.
Because some of the one who was going to be taking part in that operation was this man?
Yes.
This is just unbelievable.
Completely.
It's unbelievable. It really is. I honestly don't know what to say. It's not often I'm lost for words, but I'm so sorry that you've all had to go through this and that you've had to fight. But I mean, the support that you have had, I hope you feel anyway, from most right-thinking individuals. It must have, I suppose, been a bit of a support for you. But I mean, look, honestly, I just don't know what to say. Really, it's remarkable. That's the changing room, by the way, I believe, is there? And just to say as well, could we outline this Rose? Is a biological man, and am I right in saying has a girlfriend or had a girlfriend?
Has a wife now.
Has a wife?
Yeah, he's just got married.
So basically, it's a straight man who dresses as a woman.
Yes.
OK. I mean, yeah, it's just bonkers. So, OK, so the result of this is hopefully you get the result, one which will include a massive apology, and that we think is sometime in the new year.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think we're also helping for systemic policy change throughout the NHS as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, well, look, thank you so much. I could talk to you all night about this. I'm really sorry that we're going to have to end it here, but I want to say a massive thank you for all coming into the studio as well, and for being so brave about it. I know you shouldn't have to be, but, the consequences for this have been pretty staggering, so thank you very, very much. A spokesperson for County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust has said, County Durham and Darlington NHS Foundation Trust is committed to providing safe, respectful and inclusive care for patients and working environments for all colleagues. As this matter is the subject of an ongoing employment tribunal proceedings, it would not be appropriate for the Trust to comment further whilst the case is active. Sorry about this, just very quickly, if you don't mind. Could we get the microphone at the end there quickly? Sorry. Where are you changing now, then? Have you got your changing room back?
Yes, we're back in the original changing room. Apparently the individual's now removed from the changing room, somewhere else to change, but we were never told by the Trust officially that was the case.
OK. All right. Well, look, thank you again. Thank you. And I know our viewers and listeners are full square behind you on this issue. So, all right, all the very best. All the very best.
Thank you.
There's lots more still to come. Yeah, I mean, Keir Starmer's been in the news again, hasn't he?
Is the Health Secretary a traitor or a faithful Prime Minister? Prime Minister, your MP is trying to get rid of you. Are there any traitors in number 10, Prime Minister? Good morning. Do you need a padlock on that door?
But yes, we come back. Those unemployment figures, not particularly good. Stay tuned.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
The low pressure responsible for the UK's wet weather is also bringing wet, windy weather to Iberia. Heavy showers in Cyprus caused by another low, but in between, high pressure, a lot of fine weather for Italy. Madeira and the Canary Islands seeing some lively showers and thunderstorms on Thursday. Here's this band of rain, which is really quite slow moving across Portugal and western parts of Spain. Eventually edges its way eastwards during the next few days, but Italy stays very nice indeed.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hello, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, heavy rain will move into northern areas through tonight. Will turn that much drier across southern areas, and a chilly wind will develop across the far north of Scotland as we've got a northerly wind direction here. Further south, this weather front will move into parts of northern England, parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, bringing heavy and persistent rain through much of the night and into Thursday morning as well. We could see some snow flurries as this rain bumps into the colder air across parts of northern Scotland as well. Further south, though, will turn much clearer as the night goes on, but it's going to be another mild night. Temperatures still 12, 13, 14 degrees to start the day on Thursday across much of England and Wales. Further north, though, a very chilly start to the day. Temperatures down into single figures, and a very brisk northerly wind will bring an especially chilly feel to the far north of Scotland. Now, as that cold air undercuts the rain, I think it's going to feel quite cold across parts of Northern Ireland, southern areas of Scotland too, and that heavy rain will persist through much of the morning. Further south, though, very different morning to come across parts of Wales, southwestern England, potentially some sunshine around, and with temperatures above average here for the time of year, it will feel fairly pleasant. There will be plenty of dry and fair weather across much of England and Wales through Thursday as well, so a little drier interlude in all the rain we've had this week so far. Further north across parts of Scotland as well, there will be some such sunshine, but that cold wind will continue to keep temperatures well below average, 7 or 8 degrees at best, with cloud and rain persisting across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Now, that fine weather across the south will not last too long. The next batch of rain arrives on Thursday night and will linger through much of Friday. There is a weather warning in force for rain, but there will also be some very brisk easterly winds that will bring potentially some disruption as well. So please keep up to date with the forecast. Looking further ahead to the rest of the weekend, it does look a little drier.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Oh, absolutely unbelievable story, this. The new Archbishop of Canterbury has encouraged churches to continue to baptise asylum seekers. Dame Sarah Mullally, who will become the Church of England's first female Archbishop officially in January, said that conversion to Christianity is not like clicking a switch, and that clergy are trained to discern genuine faith. Well, with respect, they've not been that well trained in the past, have they? Because we've had numerous different cases of fake asylum seekers essentially using baptisms. So one of them actually blew himself up outside Liverpool Women's Hospital. But she added that it's the job of the Home Office, not the Church, to assess these claims, and that churches should continue to offer sanctuary. However, last year, of course, the Church of England was accused of running, quotes, a conveyor belt of false asylum claims. I mean, most notably, although this wasn't actually in the Church of England, but still, Abdul Azidi, who's the Afghan national, committed a chemical attack in Clapham, and he was given asylum at the third attempt after converting to Christianity. He had a Muslim funeral after he died, for what it's worth. But anyway, I'm now joined by the vicar and author, the man who's literally written the book on baptism, believing in baptism. It's Stephen Kirk. Stephen, tremendous to see you again. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Is this quite annoying that the Archbishop of Canterbury appears to either be naive or, in my view, maybe deliberately allowing people who are not Christians, predominantly from Muslim countries, to use the Christian faith to fraudulently stay in Britain?
I think Sarah Mullally, in the comments she made, was so anxious to avoid coming over as sort of discriminatory or sort of prejudiced that she didn't really make a clear statement at all in the parts I read. Baptism is a really, really solemn sign of it's God's sign that someone belongs to his church, and faith is crucial, the response of faith to it. And so in no setting at all should a Christian minister just baptise someone, whether it's someone wanting a school place for their child, wanting them baptised, or in this sort of situation either. And the other thing about baptism is it's a public thing. So it should, you know, an emergency baptism can take place. I've gone to maternity wards in the past where a baby looks as though they're going to die. I've never actually had to do that, but I've been prepared to do that. In those circumstances, you can have a sort of what's called an emergency baptism. But in most cases, the preparation is really crucial, that people know what they're doing, and they're joining a church community when they get baptised. So they should be part of that community in a meaningful way before that baptism actually takes place. Do
you think that the Archbishop recognises that people are just using the church as a backdoor into Britain?
I think Sarah Mullally probably does recognise that, but I think she's really, really worried about coming over as racist or prejudiced. So she's so anxious to avoid that danger that I think she falls into... She's fell into, I think, making rather broad and nebulous statements that aren't really addressing the issue people are rightly concerned about.
Is there a difficult balance to be struck in Christianity between that thing of, you know, welcoming the stranger and basically just being really nice? And not allowing people to take the mick?
There's a tension, and very often it's over school places, actually. But there are ways of resolving that tension. You make churches as welcoming as possible, you make them as inclusive as possible, but you also make clear that what Christianity stands for is very distinct, and you want people to be really clear about what they're opting into.
Once someone has been baptised, you know, is there any... You don't really notice if they keep coming to church or anything like that, do you?
No, you don't. So there's always an element of faith on that, but what you can do is expect reasonable commitment beforehand. So you don't expect people to be totally clued up on every part of their faith. When people first come to faith, they're not necessarily clear about every part of it, but you can tell whether they're serious about wanting to carry on in the faith. And not everyone does. People do fall away. So we don't want to be so absolutely regimented that we stop that.
I just wonder if this is having a slightly negative impact. You know, we do see reports of potentially some dwindling church numbers. I fear that the Archbishop of Canterbury, like her predecessor, is actually quite out of touch with many, many people in Middle England, people who are actually Christian.
Well, I think Sarah Mullally probably... I think realises that she can't make the same mistakes that Justin Welby made on that score. So I would have thought she's acutely conscious of not falling into the trap of ignoring people's concerns. As a vicar, I often say there are no invalid questions. When people have got concerns, they should always be engaged with. Doesn't mean you necessarily underwrite the answer they think to that, but you always take people's concerns seriously.
All right, well, Stephen, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for coming in and for a copy of this book as well, Believing in Baptism. There you go. Well, the Archbishop-designate has said this. It's not the job of the clergy to assess asylum claims. The Home Office has stated that evidence from the clergy or church members in an asylum case does not determine the outcome of the claim. I have to say that I am proud that the church into which I am called to serve welcomes, indeed embraces any and all who expressed a genuine, considered and informed decision to follow Jesus Christ. I will just say she also said that she thought that some of the people who were coming here to Britain might only declare their Christian faith when they get to Britain because of fear of persecution. Well, with respect, they're not going to be persecuted for their Christian beliefs in France, are they? But anyway, next. Do you really believe that the 4 million people who are currently signed off work with no obligation to ever find work again, spend a lifetime on benefits, do we honestly believe that they can't work? That's next.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here. GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
OK, so welcome back. Now, a record 8.3 million people are claiming universal credit. Now, that's equivalent to a quarter of the working age population. But worse than this, 4 million of those people are now claiming jobless benefits without any requirement to ever have to look for work. A figure that has risen by 1 million since this Labour government came to power. I mean, that really is a remarkable stat, isn't it, really, when you have a look at that? I mean, it is absolutely astonishing. The question I'm asking is, do we honestly believe that those 4 million people who have been signed off forever on benefits with no need to ever look for work can't get a job? Mark, what do you make of those figures?
Of course they can get a job, Patrick. We've got a completely broken welfare system, and if you pay people to not work rather than work, guess what's going to happen? There's a very simple economic principle here. If you tax cigarettes higher, you get less smoking. If you tax alcohol higher, you get less drinking. If you tax work higher, you get less working, and that's doubled down on by offering these benefits. So the welfare state is completely out of control. I think it now comes in, payouts now amount to about £12,000 per household per year.
Yep.
This is not going to solve poverty, and it's not going to get people back into work.
Go on here.
It's a shocker. It actually really makes me cross because, you know, you have to divorce this from people who are genuinely disabled, genuinely have crippling mental health problems. But there are nearly 1 million young people who are not in work or doing anything at all. And as a society, we have brought up this bunch of kids who don't seem to have any gumption or backbone. I know I sound like ancient. I am ancient. It makes me cross because next year I will have been working for 60 years and paying taxes.
Well, look
60
here,
years.
you know, as well, and with respect as well. Oh, sorry about the show. We're going to have to go, but we suppose, you know, here, you know, late at night, possibly on until midnight tonight. I don't know. Are you? Maybe you are.
Yeah, I am.
You are, yeah, great, brilliant. You know, and it's no mean feat, right? And to do that, and whereas you've got people who are like 19 signing on for their entire life. It's ridiculous.
There are two phrases: pay your way, earn your keep. Where are they nowadays? Nobody's ever heard them.
I always knew you were a Tory, Nina.
I'm not a Tory. I'm not a Tory. Labour, and I'm not Labour. Working people.
Look, on that note, I'm sorry we've been a bit squeezed, but we obviously had that big interview with the Darlington nurses, so I wanted to try and extend that for as long as possible. When I come back, the ongoing revolt in Downing Street, and a story I'm very pleased about. Axel Rudikabana's parents are now probably going to face prosecution or investigation.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, heavy rain will move into northern areas through tonight. Will turn that much drier across southern areas, and a chilly wind will develop across the far north of Scotland as we've got a northerly wind direction here. Further south, this weather front will move into parts of northern England, parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, bringing heavy and persistent rain through much of the night and into Thursday morning as well. We could see some snow flurries as this rain bumps into the colder air across parts of northern Scotland as well. Further south, though, will turn much clearer as the night goes on, but it's going to be another mild night. Temperatures still 12, 13, 14 degrees to start the day on Thursday across much of England and Wales. Further north, though, a very chilly start to the day. Temperatures down into single figures, and a very brisk northerly wind will bring an especially chilly feel to the far north of Scotland. Now, as that cold air undercuts the rain, I think it's going to feel quite cold across parts of Northern Ireland, southern areas of Scotland too, and that heavy rain will persist through much of the morning. Further south, though, very different morning to come across parts of Wales, southwest of England, potentially some sunshine around, and with temperatures above average here for the time of year, it will feel fairly pleasant. There will be plenty of dry and fair weather across much of England and Wales through Thursday as well, so a little drier interlude in all the rain we've had this week so far. Further north across parts of Scotland as well, there will be some such sunshine, but that cold wind will continue to keep temperatures well below average, 7 or 8 degrees at best, with cloud and rain persisting across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Now, that fine weather across the south will not last too long. The next batch of rain arrives on Thursday night and will linger through much of Friday. There is a weather warning in force for rain, but there will also be some very brisk easterly winds that will bring potentially some disruption as well. So please keep up to date with the forecast. Looking further ahead to the rest of the weekend, it does look a little drier.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
We could be delivering the perfect Christmas to you this year. There's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 the best year yet. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family. There's £1,000 to spend in your favourite supermarket. And a festively themed GB News goodie bag. And we'll get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're
the failure is
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdley, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Patrick Christys. Tonight.
Is the Health Secretary a traitor or a faithful Prime Minister? Prime Minister, your MP is trying to get rid of you. Are there any traitors in number 10, Prime Minister? Good morning. Do you need a padlock on that door?
Revolt in the Labour Party.
Prime Minister has lost control of his own people within number 10 Downing Street.
I wouldn't put it like that.
Well, in the last few minutes, reports have emerged that apparently Wes Streeting's camp believe that Sir Keir Starmer did actually know about the briefings against him, so it's all hotting up again this evening. Sir Keir Starmer surely is a dead man walking. Plus, big story this, Axel Rudikabana's parents are now facing a police investigation themselves. Also,
President prepared to bankrupt the BBC.
The president has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers.
well, it looks like President Trump is going to sue the BBC into the ground. On my panel tonight, we have got the Director of Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, Reform Councillor for Epping Forest, Jamie McIver, and journalist and broadcaster, Nina Mishkov. And, well, I must say, you've just got to love this guy, haven't you?
And then the other one is your wife. How many wives? The wife. You guys I never know. I never know.
How many wives have you got? I mean, it cannot be contained. Get ready, Britain, here we go. Well, there's breaking news in the last few minutes, and I think Sir Keir Starmer is a dead man walking. Next.
Very good evening to you. A minute past 10 here in the GB newsroom. The Prime Minister is under pressure to sack his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, after Number 10 was accused of briefing against the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting. Sir Keir Starmer told MPs in the Commons he did not authorise attacks against his Cabinet ministers, describing briefings against them as unacceptable. The Prime Minister's ordered an inquiry into the source of the accusations and has vowed to take action against those responsible. Mr Streeting has denied plotting a coup, describing the story as a self-defeating rumour.
Most unwarranted attack on a faithful since Joe Marler was banished in the Traitors final, and I think whoever's been briefing this should spend a little less time watching Celebrity Traitors and a bit more time watching Countryfile.
The White House has described the BBC as a leftist propaganda machine, indicating Donald Trump's billion-dollar legal action against the corporation over its editing of one of his speeches will go ahead. The US President's given the corporation until Friday to publish a full retraction of the Panorama programme. The chair of the BBC, Samir Shah, has previously apologised for an error of judgment. Mr Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, was asked by our US presenter, Bev Turner, if it could affect the relationship with the UK.
Does this strain the relationship between the President and the Prime Minister? And given that the organisation is publicly funded, is the President prepared to bankrupt the BBC?
He has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders, even whom he has a good relationship with. And the BBC, being a fair news organisation, is definitely an outlet. I think these two leaders would disagree. The President has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain. As you know, the President's external legal counsel has filed a lawsuit against the BBC. We expect that to continue, and whether they apologize or not is up to them.
Meanwhile, the White House says emails released by US Democrats, which appear to link Donald Trump to the late paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, are a fake narrative to smear the US president. One message alleges Mr Trump spent hours with one of Epstein's victims. In another, addressed to his associate Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein wrote that Trump knew about the girls and referred to the US president as the dog that hasn't barked. Republicans have responded by releasing 23,000 pages of documents from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, accusing the Democrats of cherry-picking. Mr Trump's always denied any wrongdoing. GB News can reveal 2 of the 7 men charged over group-based child sexual exploitation against 11 teenagers in Bristol were asylum seekers. The Home Office have confirmed Sina Omari and Wadi Sharaf arrived in Britain via small boats. Another defendant, Mohammed Araf, was granted leave to remain until after arriving in Britain in 2019 under the Syrian resettlement scheme. Finally, skygazers may be treated to an unexpected celestial light show this evening because of the most intense surge in solar activity in decades. It's expected to bring a spectacular display of the Northern Lights to the UK, weather depending, of course, like this one seen earlier in Iowa. The eruptions, which send solar particles towards the Earth, have already affected communications and GPS systems, and unsurprisingly, the best place to see it will be in the north of the country. Those are your headlines. I'll be back with more at 11.
Good evening. Sir Keir Starmer is a dead man walking. Last week, news broke that newly elected Labour MPs met in secret to discuss how they could get rid of the Prime Minister. Then last night, news broke that Downing Street thought that Health Secretary Wes Streeting was launching a coup. They also believed that Shabana Mahmood, Ed Miliband and Angela Rayner wanted him out. Now, apparently, Wes Streeting had 50 frontbench Labour MPs willing to resign if or when Rachel Reeves's disaster budget goes badly in a couple of weeks' time. When it comes to Wes Streeting, though, he's always been hiding in plain sight.
The leader of the Labour Party.
Another Conservative.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn, of course.
Anyone but Jeremy Corbyn.
I think it'd probably be me.
His answer to the question, who will be Prime Minister next? There you go. Remarkable, isn't it? In fact, last night, a website appeared and it says, Wes for leader. Oh, we're with Wes is the slogan. Gosh, where did that come from? I mean, of course, Wes denies that he's running to be leader. Don't ever for a second think there's any truth to any of this. The only downside for Wes, though, is that it looks like he's actually going to lose his seat at the next general election to one of the Gaza independents. So he will probably have to move seat. But he's not the only one who seems to be at it. There's also this website that's emerged as well for Rachel Reeves. Ready for Reeves. Launching soon. Gosh, where could that have come from, eh? So Wes Streeting goes out on the morning media rounds this morning and openly says that Sir Keir Starmer appears to have lost control of his Downing Street staff.
The Prime Minister has lost control of his own people within number 10 Downing Street?
I wouldn't put it like that. I would say that there are some people in Downing Street who evidently do not model the behaviours and style of leadership that the Prime Minister models.
OK. He even says that Sir Keir Starmer should probably sack whoever was doing these briefings about leadership challenges.
They're there in his operation and he is the Prime Minister. Should he sack those people, do you think?
Yes, but, you know, he's got to find them first. And I wouldn't expect him to waste loads of time on this. I just think, you know, and this interview is in many ways a reflection of the problem. We're spending way too much time talking about what is ultimately Westminster bubble nonsense and trivia.
Not really, because it's about who runs the country, isn't it? So there's that. But Wes did his best to try to convince everyone that he's on the Prime Minister's side. But he didn't convince many people. I mean, Reform UK jumped at the chance to point this out.
So what, is there a leadership challenge? What's happening?
It's not true.
This test says you're a dirty liar, doesn't it?
The Prime Minister's fighting to save his own job. No, he's not.
You said no. This test says you were lying on that question as well.
OK, then the Prime Minister emerges from Downing Street today on his way to PMQs, where he was heckled by the press.
Is the Health Secretary a traitor or a faithful, Prime Minister? Prime Minister, your MP's trying to get rid of you. Are there any traitors in number 10, Prime Minister? Good morning. Do you need a padlock on that door?
Can I say something on here? Look, I'm all for a laugh, don't get me wrong, and I don't want to sound like too much of a miserable so-and-so here, but there is actually a huge issue at play here. The country is on its knees. We've got catastrophic problems left, right and centre, and that bloke that you saw on your screen there, the Prime Minister, is ultimately responsible for it. And the way that the media are going after the using traitors references, oh, is the one a traitor or a faithful, ha, ha, ha. Really, is that the best we've got? Seriously. And it didn't get much better for Sir Keir Starmer in the Commons either.
Mr Speaker, what we heard the Health Secretary say this morning was that he wants to cut waiting lists, but we all know that there's only one waiting list that he really wants to cut. But the Prime Minister is not going to do anything about the toxic culture. This is his responsibility. Just last night, his allies accused not just the Health Secretary, but the Home Secretary and even the Energy Secretary of launching leadership bids.
Oh, the latest polling suggests that Labour could lose around 295 seats if a general election was held tomorrow. And Sir Keir Starmer might even lose his own seat. The last 24 hours have shown that Sir Keir Starmer can't run his own office. He can't manage his own party. How on earth can he run the country? And in the last couple of minutes, by the way, just quickly, this story has emerged and it's going to be reported in The Times that Wes Streeting's allies believe that Sir Keir Starmer was aware of the briefings against him and say that number 10 is, quotes, not in touch with reality. Starmer denies this. They're also calling now openly for Sir Keir Starmer to sack his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney. So there you go. And apparently Sir Keir Starmer tried to have lunch with several Labour MPs today after PMQs and, quotes, it did not go down well. So there you go. Let's get thoughts to my panel. We have the Director of Public Services, Mark Littlewood, Reform Councillor for Epping Forest, Jamie McIver, journalist and broadcaster, Nina Mishkov. Mark, this sorry saga that we're seeing going on at the moment, talk of open revolt in Downing Street, do you buy it?
Oh, absolutely. This is now chaos and carnage, and we're probably reaching the end game, in my judgment. I don't know the internal workings of the Labour Party as well as I know the internal workings of the Conservative Party, but this is rats in a sack. It is not even obvious what they're fighting about, other than who will inherit the crown. There doesn't appear to be any particular ideological divide or disagreement about policy. There is just...
It's personal, isn't it?
It's entirely personal. And I think an awareness, a now growing awareness on the Labour benches and amongst Labour Party members that Keir Starmer is not very good at politics, and he's not very good at governing either. At some point, the fatal blow will be struck. And the rules of the Labour Party here are quite interesting. To trigger a contest, you would need 80 Labour MPs to sign a piece of paper of no confidence in Keir Starmer. And those 80 could, and I suspect will be, relatively anonymous folk or disgruntled backbenchers. You probably won't see Wes Streeting and Angela Rayner and Rachel Reeves or any of that ilk signing that piece of paper. If that election is triggered and that no confidence vote is triggered, and I suspect it could well be immediately after the budget, the Prime Minister is probably gone.
But it's rumbling on again tonight, Jamie. You know, again, this is it. So West Streeting went out and did the morning rounds and, you know, said the right things there, of course. But really, it was the thinly veiled thing of he wants people sacked behind the scenes for this, and he's obviously not happy about it. And then tonight, his allies have come out and said, actually, they do think that Sir Keir Starmer knew about these briefings. I mean, it can't carry on.
No, but you know what, Patrick? I'm sick and tired of it. This is just the typical uni-party politician behaviour. They're all in it for themselves. They all want the top job. They don't care about the people they serve. They don't care about their constituents. They don't care about the general state of the country. I mean, you've got some backbench Labour MPs, all, wow, so brave. They might go and try and oust the Prime Minister and get their preferred candidate into number 10 so they can get their red briefcase, so they can go and carry on destroying the country their own way. And why don't those MPs actually grow a backbone and stop British overseas territory from being given to potentially an ally of China? We are just living in the most surreal world where the people elected to serve this country and make things better for the British people are simply interested in who can get a red briefcase next. The country is in such a state and they're fighting like rats in a sack.
Nina, can I just say that what this story shows, really, is that whatever way you dress it up, Sir Keir Starmer is either now having to admit that he's not in control of whoever's doing these briefings, or he did know about it and chose to do it anyway. Either way, the party's in a mess. He can't run Downing Street, he can't run his party, and he can't run the country, can he?
I don't think you can blame it all on Keir Starmer. I think that inside number 10, it's a lot of boys and testosterone and games and political games, and, you know, this story has been so blown up by the media. It's become a media game now. So it's a political game and a media game. And this is just willy waving, basically, you know, in a political way. They've gone completely bonkers. I mean, I didn't vote for Keir Starmer, and he is doing badly, and I understand all of that. And I feel that somehow this has just gone beyond anything, because there's so much.
Hang on, Nina. That oftentimes I'm sympathetic to that when you're just hearing Westminster rumours. We've overheard somebody saying this in a bar in Westminster. What happened here was that number 10 Downing Street official spokespeople briefed out that there's an attempted coup against the Prime Minister.
I agree.
And he is going to try and resist it. What do you expect the world's media to do when the official spokespeople at number 10 say that is the story? The media haven't blown it out of all proportion.
They haven't blown it up, but they have exacerbated the whole thing.
I think it's like the duty of the media to report that that's what number 10 has.
Of course they reported it, but it's become a game. It's become a game. It's not.
Well, number 10's
not reality.
Starmer is the most unpopular Prime Minister, I think, in living history, certainly in my lifetime.
I would say Liz Truss.
He has no way. And one thing Keir Starmer could do to maybe give himself a little bit of respect as he leaves office is actually call an election and get rid of the entire Labour government.
That
would be the best thing he could do.
That's wishful thinking on your part.
It's not wishful thinking. It's in national interest. Prime Ministers serve. The people in the Labour Party are not capable or competent enough of running this country. They have run it into the ground.
As you say, as self-interested as every other politician.
Absolutely not.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely not.
Come on.
Absolutely not.
They're all angels.
I don't need your violin. I can tell you that we are the only party in British politics at the moment that's actually united.
I just want to drag us back to something else.
United?
Because, you know, just think about this. In the last, few days, we've had the ongoing psychodrama of David Lammy's unrelenting incompetence. And then now, today, there's another thing about Sir Keir Starmer and Lisa Nandy, the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport. You know, Lisa Nandy appears to have broken the rules when it comes to the donor scandal for the football regulator. So David Cogan, a donor to the Labour Party, was given the role as football regulator. Now, Sir Keir Starmer has today admitted that he approved that. He was also, by the way, a donor to Sir Keir Starmer directly. He was awarded £130,000 a year part-time job regulating football. I mean, on any normal day, that would be the story. That would be the scandal.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending tidal wave of scandal.
Yes, I mean, you can absolutely sense that this government hasn't got a grip on anything. right? It's not just that the policies are bad, it's that they can't execute any form of decision or even act within the guardrails that they promised to act within. I believe actually the donations were specifically to Lisa Nandy, not to the Labour Party. And this is a clear breach of the rules. But the entire tsunami of governmental collapse is now obviously overwriting all of these continual stream of minor transgressions, which just speaks to an inability to run a government.
As I understand it, Lisa Nandy was not aware that he had donated, and as soon as she was made aware, she reported herself. And
I get that, but then we are being asked to we're being asked to believe a lot here, aren't we? That people were continually unaware of these things that were going on around them. If someone gave me a few grand, I'd know about it. I'd feel it. I'd see it in my bank account.
These were the people who insisted. All of these things needed to be checked in triplicate by the Conservatives. Absolute outrage when they weren't. Any slip of the pen was indefensible. Everybody must resign. That was absolutely their clarion call. Turns out they're identical.
Could I just put in at this point? Because we're about to get this budget. I mean, none of the briefings on this are particularly good, as far as I can tell, anyway. And all of the smart money is on there being uproar after this budget. You know, there being this kind of open rebellion. But it's us that has to suffer here, isn't it? In the meantime, we've just got to wait here, like sitting ducks, for Rachel Reeves to deliver a disaster budget that probably results in pretty much all of us paying a load more tax for people that we don't think we should be paying for. And then there's going to be some kind of Labour rebellion on this, and there might be a change of leadership, and then we're going to have to wait for the next... But we're the ones who are suffering.
No, Patrick, you're absolutely... And I was just going to say, it's actually forget the markets, forget the big businesses, forget the economy, forget farmers for a minute. Just ordinary British people. You just speak to them. People are depressed out in this country, and actually that veteran spoke for the entire nation the other day when he was close to tears, talking about how devastated he is at the state of this country. Those Labour MPs in Parliament, the Labour government, should be utterly ashamed of themselves, because in just a small amount of time, things were terrible when Labour got in. Let's not make any excuses about that. They have made things so much worse. But when you put the television on and a Secretary of State comes on TV to talk about something very sensitive and important, like the accidental release of a dangerous person, no one can take them seriously. They are unserious people, and they are literally letting the country down. And they would be doing themselves a favour by getting out of office as soon as possible, because they have made the country worse.
I don't think they'll see it that way.
They are not going to let go. But the problem is that Labour had this huge majority, and the majority of those people were new, young people who were voted in, who are not worldly wise, who are not used to the political game, could not see that you need to play the long game. Who are firebrands, if you like, or they're
also elected by accident.
Sorry, just on that, I think there's an important point to be had here, which is whatever the MP's salary is now, is it 90 grand?
93, I think.
93 grand a year. Now, for a lot of those new, younger MPs, or for anyone, that's a lot of money, I'm not trying to belittle that, but for a lot of these new, younger MPs, you might never get a salary like that again in your life. And if they know that they're going to be turfed out of office in a couple of years' time, you know, they would rather change the leader now, wouldn't they? Try to cling on.
If they're smarter, they would just sit tight and wait and just... you have to be able to play the long game.
You've mentioned this issue several times on this show, and you're not wrong. There's a lot of kind of fresh-faced newbies on the Labour benches. But that isn't the problem. A government functions by having 15 or 20 competent people at the top. If you've got the top 15, 20 or 25 who know what they're doing, the other 300 you can keep in line. The real problem is that the 15, 20 or 25 at the top don't know what they're doing. That's why it's unravelling, not because somebody in their mid-20s has accidentally become a Labour MP.
That's what happened with Boris Johnson, because he dumped all the old wise heads.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
they got a third
all over again.
They got a third of the vote and 2/3 of Parliament. That's the ultimate problem, isn't it? No one wanted a Labour government. They got a Labour government.
So you guys are in favour of PR, yeah?
Do you know what? I just think as long as we get a reform government, I don't really care, to be honest with you. That's my honest opinion.
All right, well, look, you know, well, wait and see. The big question is this, you know, how much longer are these Labour MPs, and I'm going to wrap in a second, by the way, but how much longer are these Labour MPs going to be marched up the hill by Keir Starmer? They backed him over various different things, like with the pensioners, over the farmers, over a load of stuff. They backed him over a load of stuff which is now U-turned on. They've lost a lot of political capital. They're getting dogs abuse on the doorstep. You know, we're now seeing open warfare when it comes to the cabinet cabinet as well. You know, are they going to pull the trigger after the budget? Are they going to limp on for another 6 months to the May elections, are they? Are they going to drag it out for that long before... I don't know, but something's coming. We all know it's coming. The only person potentially who doesn't is Sir Keir Starmer. But anyway, when we come back, there's a very, very serious story, this, and one that I've been hoping that we could have reported on for quite a while, and it involves Axel Rudy Cabana's parents. But before that, something to just take your mind off all of this, all right? It's 40 grand in tax-free cash. It could be with you in time for Christmas. Here's how.
You could win your entire Christmas on us this year, all magically delivered to you in time for the big day. There's cash, £30,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year go with a bang. There's also a further £10,000 to spend on all the gifts, the tree, the trimmings, everything you might need for a fantastic festive day. We've also got Christmas lunch for you, with £1,000 in vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a festive GB News goodie bag, so there's something for everyone under the tree. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Very shortly, I've got all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages. And by the way, there is a big grooming gang story on one of those, which I've had a look at, and I'll bring that to you shortly. But next... Well, I mean, have we created a society where there is absolutely no parental responsibility? It looks as though Axel Rudy Cabana's parents will now finally face an investigation. That's next.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I'm Camilla Tominey. This is GB News, Britain's election channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Me and my mum, and it looks real, doesn't it?
It isn't. I thought that was real when I first saw it.
Yeah, not that you'll be able to see it, but anyway, it's me and mum.
Things like that, AI is amazing, isn't it? Because your mum's no longer with us.
Yes.
You've got a lovely video of you hugging her.
Yeah.
Which is lovely.
Which is not real, but anyway. It's but I liked it. Like the idea, I thought they've done it very well.
Yeah.
It's quite. But good luck to kids learning to tell the difference between all of that.
Well, we are talking about education today. Lots of you getting in touch. Edmund says, my grandson ended up going to hospital with stress over his exams. GCSEs are too much, I think. They've gotten harder and harder. They're not like they were when I was at school. I only got 3 exams done at 16 and then I dropped out afterwards.
What, you get 3 exams at 16?
That's what Edmund got. He says GCSEs are much harder now.
There we go.
Peter says some of us were self-sufficient at 15 years old. We were growing our own food, we were collecting fuel for our fires, and we had paper jobs, not playing with phones and on social media all the time.
That's a very good point. That's absolutely right. You know, people were fighting in the First World War and the Second World War at 15, 16, 17. And, you know, I mean, pressure. I mean, I just think I think we should teach kids to be more resilient.
Yes.
That's the thing. I think that you just can't say they've buckled and we see that as the latest stage. Some of you may agree with me, but I mean, everybody. I mean, how the heck? I could bore you silly, believe me, bore you silly with pressure and things you did for school and you know, what was expected. There was just no tolerance for any leniency in my school at all, but we got through it, and I can say happiest days of my life still.
Well, maybe resilience needs to be taught in the national curriculum. Maybe it needs to be taught more
resilience.
At home.
Good idea.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Well, shortly I'll have all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages for you, and there is actually a really quite monumental grooming gang story on there, which I'll bring to you. But before that, the father of Southport killer Axel Rudy Cabana has admitted that he knew his son was hoarding large knives and weapons and had even foiled a plot to set fire to his old school just a week before that devastating attack. Jenny and David Stankham, whose 7-year-old daughter was among the 3 girls killed, said the killer's parents should be held to account. They said they knew his behaviour was escalating, they saw the signs, the obsession, the growing desire to harm, especially in the months, weeks and days before the attack, and still they did nothing. And then today, the news is now that there could well be an investigation into Axel Rudy Cabana's parents. And, you know, at what point do we have to say that they have some parental responsibility here? Joining us now is barrister Francis Hoare. Francis, thank you so much. So are there grounds here for an investigation into Axel Rudy Cabana's parents for some kind of culpability, do you think?
Well, it's difficult to say. It's always difficult to say in these cases because we don't know the full facts, and that's why the police should be allowed to do their job and investigate properly and consider potential criminal offences. Now, there are potential criminal offences of parents of children. It might be, I note that you say that it's been said that they had weapons or their son had weapons. It's possible that they might be found to be in possession of those weapons. If their son was committing a criminal offence and they were aware of that, and I'm not saying that any of this happened, but in terms of what potential culpability a parent in theory may have over a child, if anyone is aware of somebody has committed a criminal offence and has failed to assist the police in reporting that person to the police, then they could potentially be guilty of assisting.
Well, this is it.
offender.
So the news line today is that Merseyside police have confirmed that they are assessing new information that could lead to the prosecution of Rudy Cabana's parents. And we believe that new information is things that came out during this inquiry and this inquest, which included things like they said that they'd not let him out of the house on his own since he tried to stab people on a bus. And then they came downstairs and saw an unwrapped knife packet and that he was gone. And then his mum went back to bed. Now, at what point do parents, seriously, in the eyes of the law, at what point do parents become responsible for their children's actions?
Well, I think we both have to be very careful what we say about an ongoing investigation where there might be a criminal trial with a jury.
No one's been charged or arrested yet.
No, but there still might be a criminal charge with a jury. So we have to be very, very careful not to prejudice that if we are desirous that justice is done. So I'm not going to comment on the specifics anymore, I'm afraid. That's not appropriate.
I don't really understand why you came on.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to be asked to breach sub judice rules. I mean, even if you're right, even if it's technically not sub judice, I'm sure you don't want to be prejudicing a potential criminal trial.
No, we're just talking about the facts of the story that broke today, which is obviously, and I'm asking you about a point of law, which is at what point do parents become responsible for their child's actions?
As I said, potentially, if they are aware of criminal offences and they assist their child by failing to exercise a duty that they might have to stop that offence. If they lie to the police, they might potentially be guilty of perverting the course of justice. So there are a number of different potential offences, but I mean, obviously, We don't know the specific facts in this case. The police are in an ongoing investigation into these two people, and the police have a duty to do that. And we obviously hope that they will do. And if there is sufficient evidence to charge them, then they should be charged. If there's sufficient evidence to prosecute them, they should be prosecuted if there's a reasonable prospect of conviction. I think that's all I can say in terms of the facts.
OK, all right, Francis, thank you very, very much. Barrister Francis Hall there.
Thanks very much, Patrick.
Right, OK. Well, look, we'll have to wait and see what happens there, won't we? Loads more coming your way. Bit of this as well.
The president has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain.
Yes, well, surely we're going to be joined by the lady who asked that question. It's GB News' very own Bev Turner. She was in the White House earlier on, and it's fair to say it's hotting up when it comes to Trump potentially suing the BBC into the ground. Watch this space.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
The low pressure responsible for the UK's wet weather is also bringing wet, windy weather to Iberia. Heavy showers in Cyprus caused by another low, but in between, high pressure, a lot of fine weather for Italy. Madeira and the Canary Islands seeing some lively showers and thunderstorms on Thursday. Here's this band of rain, which is really quite slow moving across Portugal and western parts of Spain. Eventually edges its way eastwards during the next few days, but Italy stays very nice indeed.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, heavy rain will move into northern areas through tonight. Will turn that much drier across southern areas, and a chilly wind will develop across the far north of Scotland as we've got a northerly wind direction here. Further south, this weather front will move into parts of northern England, parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, bringing heavy and persistent rain through much of the night and into Thursday morning as well. We could see some snow flurries as this rain bumps into the colder air across parts of northern Scotland as well. Further south, though, will turn much clearer as the night goes on, but it's going to be another mild night. Temperatures still 12, 13, 14 degrees to start the day on Thursday across much of England and Wales. Further north, though, a very chilly start to the day. Temperatures down into single figures, and a very brisk northerly wind will bring an especially chilly feel to the far north of Scotland. Now, as that cold air undercuts the rain, I think it's going to feel quite cold across parts of Northern Ireland, southern areas of Scotland too, and that heavy rain will persist through much of the morning. Further south, though, very different morning to come across parts of Wales, southwestern England, potentially some sunshine around, and with temperatures above average here for the time of year, it will feel fairly pleasant. There will be plenty of dry and fair weather across much of England and Wales through Thursday as well, so a little drier interlude in all the rain we've had this week so far. Further north across parts of Scotland as well, there will be some sunshine, but that cold wind will continue to keep temperatures well below average, 7 or 8 degrees at best, with cloud and rain persisting across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Now, that fine weather across the south will not last too long. The next batch of rain arrives on Thursday night and will linger through much of Friday. There is a weather warning in force for rain, but there will also be some very brisk easterly winds that will bring potentially some disruption as well. So please keep up to date with the forecast. Looking further ahead to the rest of the weekend, it does look a little drier.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
All right, OK. So some breaking news for you now. GB News has exclusively revealed that a grooming gang victim has now written to the Scottish First Minister urging him to act on the matter. And it's on that sidebar that you're seeing of the Daily Record newspaper there. And they're warning him that she is firm in her belief that a rapid audit into grooming gangs in Scotland specifically is urgently required. This comes after the Scottish Conservatives put forward an amendment in September that would have required research into group-based child sexual exploitation, but it was voted down by SNP and Green MSPs. It also comes after Bradford victim Fiona Goddard described how she was trafficked to Glasgow from Yorkshire by a network of abusers. So there you go. I mean, I think I just don't think any corner of the UK is immune from this.
Of course it's not. This is the impact of major neglect of young girls in this country. And, you know, I'm just disgusted that any politician, whether they're a member of the Scottish Parliament or a Westminster parliamentarian, could think to vote against anything that might get these people closer to justice or even to get us some answers so it can never happen again. You know, shame on those people. What is the point of being elected to office if you're not going to try and save people that are vulnerable? But I think, actually, Patrick, it doesn't matter if you're in Scotland, in London with Sadiq Khan, this has all just been covered up. I feel so much for the victims, but I have hope for the victims now because they are being listened to, because public opinion has forced it. It's a shame it's taken public opinion and not elected officials.
Yeah, well, there we go. You know, obviously for Sadiq Khan's part, and he denies that there was any kind of cover-up, but some of the stories do keep on coming. Look, we're going to return to that. We're going to return to some of the more front pages, but I do want to go to America now because GB News' Bev Turner actually was in the White House today, questioned President Trump's press secretary Caroline Leavitt on the future of the BBC following days of backlash. We all know the story, don't we, really? And whether or not Trump is going to sue the BBC into the ground. Well, joining us now from Washington is GB News presenter Bev Turner. Bev, thank you very much. Great to see you. So, well, firstly, I suppose, what was it like to be in there and to be asked? You asked the question first, I believe, as well, weren't you? You were first on the roster.
It was great, Patrick, actually. So for people who don't know, at the White House, they have this briefing room, and there are probably on a day like today about 200 journalists, camera operators, photographers, all crammed into this really tiny, really basic room. Now, if the president isn't talking about something on a particular day, and let's be honest, he talks about something most days, then Caroline Leavitt will host a briefing. And so they tend to be every sort of twice a month at the moment, generally on a Wednesday like today. And they have a seat in there for what they call new media organisations or independent journalists, citizen journalists. They have people who have YouTube channels, etc. And today, their new media seat went to GB News, to me, which was a real honour, actually, because, of course, the seats which are taken up in there are legacy media. You've got CNN in there, you've got Fox in there, you've got the Daily Mail, a lot of organisations from all around the world who've had those seats for decades, frankly. And so it was a real honour for us and GB News to get in there today. And, of course, there's just one story, of course, Patrick, in town that the two countries are sharing very closely at the moment, and that's the situation over at the BBC with Donald Trump serving this letter accusing the BBC of defamation over this documentary, the Panorama documentary that was broadcast a month before the last election. And, of course, he's said publicly that he's suing the BBC for damages to the tune of potentially $1 billion. So I asked Caroline Leavitt about that today. Does this strain the relationship between the President and the Prime Minister? And given that the organisation is publicly funded, is the President prepared to bankrupt the BBC?
He has always been very frank when he disagrees with leaders, even whom he has a good relationship with. And the BBC, being a fair news organization, is definitely an outlet. I think these two leaders would disagree. The President has made it very clear that this is a leftist propaganda machine that is unfortunately subsidized by British taxpayers, and he thinks that's extremely unfortunate for the great people of the United Kingdom and Great Britain. As you know, the President's external legal counsel has filed a lawsuit against the BBC. We expect that to continue, and whether they apologize or not is up to them.
Well, there we go. In fact, actually, I believe it's on the front of the Daily Telegraph, Bev, which is that supposedly there is going to be a bit of a development to this. But what do you think happens now, anyway?
It's a waiting game until Friday afternoon. A couple of the Telegraph journalists were in that briefing room today, so they didn't get to ask a question, unfortunately. But of course, for a lot of the British press in that room, this is the biggest story in town. And what will happen now? I don't know. I think the BBC are going to defend their journalistic position whilst hopefully issuing a genuine, heartfelt apology. Now, what Trump's counsel have asked for is that the retraction of the story is given the same sort of prominence as the original documentary, which, of course, clips from that were viewed millions of times online. So I don't know quite how the BBC do that, because it's very difficult. It's like, Patrick, when you get an apology from a newspaper and there might have been a story on the front page which might have made somebody's life hell and it was wrong, and then they might get a centimetre inside on page 10 at some point. So the balance of apology never feels quite right for the victims of those sorts of scandals, and Donald Trump will have that sort of concept in mind, I'm sure. So at the moment, he's holding his cards very close to his chest. Caroline Levitt didn't give a huge amount away, but of course this is now going to be a legal negotiation. So in these situations, of course, each side is looking at the other to work out their next move. The big questions are, what will Trump be happy with? Is it just about money? I don't think it is, personally. It's much more about reputation. It's much more about truth and seeing himself depicted in a way that he would say was accurate. He's coined this phrase, fake news. He's been using that for years and years now, and he's now finally got a concrete example of fake news from the biggest broadcaster in the UK, and I don't think he's going to let it go easily. But whether the apology, which hopefully will come by the end of the week, whether the retraction, will the BBC make a financial offer as some sort of recompense? No doubt these conversations are going on behind closed doors in both London and also Trump's team in Florida at the moment.
All right, Bev, thank you very, very much for that. We'll watch this space when it comes to The Late Show Live as well from midnight until 2 in the morning. Bev Turner there. I'll just whiz you through to first look at some of the front pages. The Metro was tweeting saying, "I am and always have been a faithful." The Daily Mail, ousting PM will trigger an election. Starmer's allies warn as well. So there we go. We've got the Independent here as well, I think, haven't we? There we go. New emails reveal Trump spent hours with Epstein victim. So there you go. We've got The Guardian. He knew about the girls. Epstein messages pile pressure on Trump. And, yes, sorry, as I was saying there, the Daily Mail as well. Ousting PM will trigger an election. Starmer's allies warn. And we couldn't possibly have that in a democratic country, could we? So we haven't got time to talk about those now. But when I come back, hopefully we will. So I'll see you in a sec. We're also going to be talking a bit about some of the other remarkable issues that happened in the White House earlier today. I think it's this.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
There's a lot of tables out there that won't just have turkey on it. There'll be turkey and ham, and but I know some people that will cook 3 or 4 different meats. And obviously the joy of having turkey is that you can then make a turkey curry for Boxing Day and the subsequent days. So, you know, you should be having days of curry after your turkey lunch. I think for the masses, it's still hugely popular. You know, through the festive period at the Dog, we will have hundreds of people having Christmas parties, and most of them will order our turkey lunch or dinner. And then Christmas Day, we could sell it probably 3 or 4 times. The demand for people to go out for the traditional turkey roast is still massive. But hey, look, if you don't like a roast lunch, then why force yourself to have it on the, you know, probably one of the most important meals of the day in terms of bringing family together.
What about Sophie's point, Mark, about cost and spending £30, £40 on turkey? That is simply too expensive for lots of people.
Yeah, I'll never be able to defend or debate that. You know, I know more than anyone the challenges around food inflation, and a good turkey has become a huge cost. But I still think where people can afford the tradition, the joy of coming together, sharing a big turkey roast meal it's a brilliant Christmas tradition. But yeah, the food inflation, that's something we've talked about a number of times, isn't it? You know, it's crippling our business and it's crippling people at homes. I suppose the key thing to look at is if you know what you're doing with it, a good turkey will feed the family for many days. It's not just one meal.
GB News, the People's Channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Right, welcome back. Let's whiz you through the rest of the papers then. The iPaper, number 10 in turmoil before budget as ministers turn their anger on top aide McSweeney. So apparently that's the new line tonight, that Morgan McSweeney might be ousted, not before time. The Sun, Petey's armed escort after stag do threats. It's a story about Adam Petey, the Olympic serial gold medalist, who was apparently escorted from a plane by armed cops after receiving sinister threats on his stag do amid a family feud. God. The Daily Telegraph, West Streeting goes to war with number 10. So there we go. And just to emphasise again, that new line on the Trump story is that apparently the BBC is ready to apologise to Trump over the doctored video. So that appears to be the new line there. The Daily Express, desperate PM in office but not in power. And the Times, PM told to fire top aide as civil war hits Labour. So look, we'll just zone in a bit on that Daily Telegraph story, I suppose, really, because we've covered some of the others, which is that the BBC are ready to apologise to Trump over the doctored video. Apparently they are, prepared to offer him an apology. Well, how do you see this panning out then, Mark?
Very badly for the BBC. I mean, Trump is not going to get the $1 billion that he is suing him for. That is obviously a stretch. But this is going to be completely humiliating for the BBC. I don't think they can just issue a statement saying it was an error, we truly apologise, we're sorry. From what I could gather from what Bev Turner was saying earlier as well, Trump wants kind of equal airtime for the apology. So when are we going to see the Panorama investigation into Panorama? That's what I'm looking forward to.
I've got a feeling something like this has happened before at the BBC, though, like years ago. Or it was either Panorama did an investigation into Newsnight or something. OK. Right. Which is like, so there is precedent for this. But, comical precedent.
Yeah, comical precedent. It's obviously ludicrous. I mean, the fact that he's suing in Florida is interesting. I've been trying to speak to some lawyer friends about why he's doing that. He probably has a smaller chance of winning than if he could have brought the case here. But the consequences of a defeat for the BBC are likely to be considerably more dramatic. And
I understand that the reason he's not suing here is because it's more than a year has elapsed.
I don't think that is the case, because it's not when the libel was made, it's when you became aware of it. But if the BBC...
Well, that's what Mark Stevens said
the BBC might lose their licence to broadcast in America. Might. Imagine that. If they actually lost their licence to broadcast because they're not a trusted broadcaster. That hasn't been mentioned by Trump. It wasn't mentioned in the White House briefing, but I think that's the sword of Damocles. You are no longer a trusted broadcaster. I don't know what their equivalent of the Ofcom regulator is there, but we're taking you off air because you're fake news.
There is obviously a certain subsect of society. I mean, you know, obviously not a view I would share, but there are. We all know there are a lot of people out there who just despise President Trump and his very existence. So, by him declaring the BBC an untrustworthy news outlet, that will actually improve their their popularity ratings amongst some people, weren't
Yeah, I mean, look, often a lot of the people that want to criticise me and my politics on social media are now saying, no, we need to save the BBC. So I think it is actually turning on a lot of people that just don't like Trump. But you know what? The BBC needs to actually listen to Nigel Farage's advice, because I think it's very good. You need to get somebody in that actually understands PR, somebody in that's actually had commercial experience, and someone that can actually turn you around. You've got one last chance, because the British people are done with the BBC. This has been the final straw. There's been so many other things, the way they've handled Israel, the way they've documented, even as far as some of their soap operas that have now just become so woke it's unbearable to watch. So I think we've got to a position now where the BBC are literally finished. It's just, can they mitigate their fall? Can they survive a little bit? But you know what? It's not, if it's not Donald Trump, it'll be somebody else, because they can't carry on doing what they're doing.
I honestly can't understand what you're saying. The BBC have screwed up, you know, hugely with this particular the Donald Trump thing. But the average person sitting watching the telly, who still watches the telly, and the young people don't. They watch YouTube and TikTok.
Yeah, and why is that? Because of how young people are portrayed by the BBC.
No,
I'm a young person. I'm disgusted with what they say about my generation.
No, it's not that at all. It's the fact that they get stuff that really appeals to them, just constantly changing, quick cutting stuff. You know, funny things. They don't have the concentration. But I'm talking about the people who actually sit down and watch the BBC. They still love Strictly. They still love Traitors. They love all of those things.
Would they pay for it, though, do you think? Just in isolation?
Yes, they would. They still would.
Well,
that generation will do that.
What's the solution then? Let's make it a subscription model.
That could be the way it goes.
Then they will be finished.
Yeah, I mean, look,
they are not finished. They are absolutely not finished.
That might be the thing that saves
They made a huge mistake.
They have to respond to their customers.
Taxation without representation, mugging the British people off. It's had its day.
Come on.
OK, all right, well, there we go. Well, look, when we come back, obviously a deeper dive into all of tomorrow's newspaper front pages, and the big breaking news appears to be that Sir Keir Starmer might have to now sack his chief of staff. So we'll bring that to you in just a second. Don't go anywhere.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, welcome to your latest GB News weather update brought to you from the Met Office. Now, heavy rain will move into northern areas through tonight. Will turn that much drier across southern areas, and a chilly wind will develop across the far north of Scotland, as we've got a northerly wind direction here. Further south, this weather front will move into parts of northern England, parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, bringing heavy and persistent rain through much of the night and into Thursday morning as well. We could see some snow flurries as this rain bumps into the colder air across parts of northern Scotland as well. Further south, though, will turn much clearer as the night goes on, but it's going to be another mild night. Temperatures still 12, 13, 14 degrees to start the day on Thursday across much of England and Wales. Further north, though, a very chilly start to the day. Temperatures down into single figures, and a very brisk northerly wind will bring an especially chilly feel to the far north of Scotland. Now, as that cold air undercuts the rain, I think it's going to feel quite cold across parts of Northern Ireland, southern areas of Scotland too, and that heavy rain will persist through much of the morning. Further south, though, very different morning to come across parts of Wales, southwestern England, potentially some sunshine around, and with temperatures above average here for the time of year, it will feel fairly pleasant. There will be plenty of dry and fair weather across much of England and Wales through Thursday as well, so a little drier interlude in all the rain we've had this week so far. Further north across parts of Scotland as well, there will be some sunshine, but that cold wind will continue to keep temperatures well below average, 7 or 8 degrees at best, with cloud and rain persisting across Northern Ireland and Scotland. Now, that fine weather across the south will not last too long. The next batch of rain arrives on Thursday night and will linger through much of Friday. There is a weather warning in force for rain, but there will also be some very brisk easterly winds that will bring potentially some disruption as well. So please keep up to date with the forecast. Looking further ahead to the rest of the weekend, it does look a little drier.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Well, there's absolutely loads on this evening, of course. The Times are going off on Prime Minister told to fire his top aide as civil war hits Labour. This civil war in Labour is not going away. Number 10 in turmoil before the budget as ministers turn their anger on the top aide, Morgan McSweeney. The Daily Telegraph has kind of knocked on this President Trump story, by the way. Apparently, they have information that suggests the BBC is ready to apologise over that doctored video. So lots to go at when we do the front pages.
You could win your entire Christmas on us this year, all magically delivered to you in time for the big day. There's cash, £30,000 in tax-free cash to make your new year go with a bang. There's also a further £10,000 to spend on all the gifts. We've also got Christmas lunch for you, with £1,000 in vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a festive GB News goodie bag, so there's something for everyone under the tree. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That